Hi, Gender Blenders. Welcome to week 62, and this is Steffi, and this week's question is, share with everyone what games you like to play. Video games, board games, puzzles, card games, outdoor games, etc. So I'm going to limit it a little bit. I will limit it to G-rated games. And I will also include things like sports as part of outdoor games and things like that. Video games. Traditionally, unlike, you guys know I'm an engineer, and unlike most engineers and computer nerds and things like that, I don't go in for what has become like online games and, those kinds of things, Warcraft and Grand Theft Auto and things like that. I just don't do those. Board games and card games that are video games, yeah, I do. I'll get into that in a little bit. In terms of, so that's the kind of video games I like to play. Very early video game. I'm going to bring this up here. I got this when I was in Japan. It's a little handheld thing. And precursor to any of the video game kind of boxes. This is a little Hello Kitty thing. I got this when I was in Japan in the mid-'80s. So quite a while ago now. And as you can see, it's for Japanese domestic marketplace. There's no English on it anywhere except for the back where it says Made in Japan. Nick can read that. The other stuff I can't really read at all. I can read some kanji, but I can't read any of the other character sets. So that's kind of cute. It's a collector's item now. It still works. Board games, however. One of the board games I like to play is Monopoly. And that's always a fun thing to do. Occasionally I'll get together with some friends of mine and we will play Monopoly. Occasionally when we play Monopoly, one of the folks that I've been known to play Monopoly with takes the game so seriously. And one time all of us got together and shall we say, cheated against him a little bit, more than a little bit. So even though he was a relatively good player, he kind of got out of the game really, really quickly, only because every time, where the dealer would have to, or the cashier would have to give out money and things like that. Anytime anyone else got money, they got extra money. He didn't notice it. And anytime he got it, every time that we thought we could get away with it would shortchange him. And so everyone was kind of ahead of him by a lot. That was cute. Other board games, things like Mahjong tiles, rummy, squares, yacht, that sort of thing. I have a Hoyle boards game thing for the computer, and I will play that occasionally when I just want to relax and not do anything. Card games. I love to play bridge. I'm reasonably good at it. I love to play it. I don't often play it anymore because I can't get too many people excited in playing it. Pinochle. And now here is a really nice story. I like to play Pinochle too. Pinocle's a different, you don't use the traditional 52 card deck. It's a special deck with 48 cards and, the ace, 10, king, queen, jack, 9 of all 4 suits duplicated. So there's 2 aces of spades, 2 kings of spades, 2 queens of spades, that sort of thing. And so that ends up being 48 cards. And I play with that. I used to play Pinochle a lot. When I was just growing up, my parents and my aunt and uncle would get together for a weekend. And sometimes my dad, myself, and my uncle would get in the car and we'd go up and we'd go fishing off in the wilderness for Saturday and Sunday. And then they'd go back home and things like that. But other times they'd stay home and would go down, and here comes the Pittsburgh accent, would go to East Liberty. And I would go to Olson's, and my uncle would go to Olson's which is a little electronics store down there, and would pick stuff up and things like that. And my mom and my aunt would go into the store, the little department store across the street, which was Mansman's. And so we would have fun and things like that. Evenings would play pinochle. And my aunt and my mom would play against my uncle and my dad. And my uncle and my dad would cheat terribly. Every time we wanted the same suit to be passed, when we played a card, we would knock on the table and we'd know to play that same suit again and things like that. So my aunt and my mom never caught on to that. My uncle didn't know that I caught on to that until one day that my dad had to go to the restroom and I filled in for him. So I sat down and I'm playing there and I go, and my uncle looks at me really weird and says, "Do you mean that?" I said, "Yeah, of course." So as he finally figured out that I had figured out their system. That was cute. Poker. My son and I will occasionally play poker. Try playing that with a pinochle deck. We had to make our own rules because, of course, you can have like 5 aces. You can have 8 aces. So you get some little different kind of scoring things that you have to worry about. I'll play solitaire. I'll play free cell, that sort of thing. Mostly on computer and things. Outdoor games. Tennis. I love tennis. I just love playing tennis. My son and I will play. I've played in leagues. I'm not in a league right now. I have in the past played in leagues. In the future, I'll probably play in leagues again. An indoor-outdoor game, so here comes the sports thing that I like to play, is bowling. I'm actually pretty good at it. I hold about a 190 average, which is pretty good for bowling. Puzzles. About the only puzzle, I would occasionally play crossword and things like that, but what I do like to play is Sudoku, and I find it mentally challenging, which actually leads me to other kinds of games that I like and play, and those are kind of mentally challenging games. Like, you guys know that I'm an engineer. I just mentioned that a little while back, and you can see some of the stuff behind me here, some vacuum tube audio gear back there. And one of the things that I'm known for is some very unusual circuits. So one of the staples of a circuit is a thing called a resistor, and another thing's a thing called a capacitor. They just form part and parcel of almost any circuit that you need to build. So just for a mental challenge, I would try to come up with some vacuum tube audio circuits that used no resistors and no capacitors. And then I'd publish them on the internet and things like that. And a lot of people would build them and say that the results were pretty good. So that's kind of a fun challenge. Along those lines, things like machine language programming, back in the old days when you could really still do that legitimately. Like I have an old Apple II laying around for those of you who remember what such things were. And one of the things that was interesting because of the way the machine language was set up first was a memory location in the command that you would ask it to do, memory location command, and so forth and so on, is the way the machine language is set up. And by properly arranging things, that you could have a whole line of code that did certain things. And then if you offset just by one, so treat the operand, that is asking it what to do, as the location kind of a thing, you offset by one and see if you could get another program to work. And so that was kind of an interesting mental challenge kind of a thing. Multiplication in my head, that sort of thing. Did that for a long period of time. Still do it. It keeps the brain active, so to speak, so it keeps it from getting too rusty. It gets rusty enough as it is. So anyway, that's my take on video games, board games, card games, outdoor games, puzzles, and that sort of thing. So I hope that was kind of interesting for you. Get a little bit, something a little bit different, a little bit of a relaxation, so to speak, and a little bit insight to what makes me me. So until next week, this is Steffi saying bye-bye.